Hello, everyone. Mark, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi,
How you going,
Ross.
mate? How you going, mate? Thank you everyone for joining the live stream. You're in for a real treat as always with these things. So we've got Mark Newell, who will talk us through his MGF converted to electric. And this is one I've been looking forward to for a while, actually. But first of all, let's get into some of I guess, the housekeeping first of all, and some introductions, obviously, as well. So my name is Russell Shepherd from Evolution Australia and EV Up. We service the electric vehicle industry pretty much across the board, from EV charging perspective, obviously, both in home and commercial applications. And you probably know we obviously distribute the Zappi in Australia as well. So hands up who's got one of those. They're awesome products. See me after the show for a special a special deal. And obviously we do conversions as well, and we service EVs as well. But that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. We're here to talk about Mark Newell's electric MGF conversion, which I'm really looking forward to, like I said. Just a bit of housekeeping. So everyone's on mute at the moment, because obviously I think there's about 25, 30 of us on watching. And obviously having 25, 30 people talking all the time would be obviously an absolute nightmare. But obviously entertaining at the same time. So, but what there is in lieu of that is there is a chat button, and also there's a Q&A thing as well. So if you look at the green thing that's or the toolbar for Zoom, there should be a chat function there. You can click on, open that on your screen, so you can chat away amongst yourselves and obviously with us too. And then also, as Emma Sutcliffe has just put in there, you can type questions into the Q&A session as well. And the intent of these sessions is we all learn something. We'll share all, hopefully Mark will share trials and tribulations of his build and all the successes, and then everyone else will obviously get a chance to ask questions on the way through. What I'll try and do is ask questions as we see fit through the session, but if it doesn't seem right or it's not quite going with the flow, we'll leave those questions to the end, but we'll obviously endeavor to answer all the questions by the end of the session. The other thing is this thing is being recorded. I just need to check, so I'm not making a liar out myself. Yes, it is actually recording, which is great. So that means that we'll be posting this up probably first thing tomorrow morning, as a YouTube video that you can watch at your leisure and share and all those kind of good things. But anyway, look, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, I've got I guess a hidden secret here. I used to own one of these MGFs, and I've been a fan of these for a long time. So that's the reason I've been really excited to talk to you, Mark, and find out a bit more about what you did and how it came to be. And I guess the first
Russ,
is,
how long did you have yours?
about 3 years, I think it was 4 years.
Yeah,
And I always really liked the shape of them.
yeah,
I thought they were the underdog compared to like the MX-5 or the Miata of the day. And the one that I had was, well looked after. It was black on black, or black with black leather, nice wheels,
nice.
went really quick. And I thought it's an interesting car because you read all the reviews and they say, yeah, the MX-5 is better.
Yeah,
But actually, I think the shape is more attractive, and there may be some people will disagree. Actually, most people actually, but I think it's in some respect, from some angle, it's like a small Aston Martin in terms of the proportions and the size, and certainly from the shoulder side and the rear quarter. So yeah, I really like the shape, and I always really enjoyed
yeah,
driving it, especially in the dark on a hot summer's night with the top down. So yeah, really good.
fun, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, why the MGF first of all? Why did you go and convert that?
Yeah, so I had it. Yeah, I've had this one 20 years, so from new.
Okay.
Um, it, yeah, I was the same. I saw this car come out, and I loved the shape straight away. I fell in love with the shape straight away. Just went, wow, that's just a cool little sports car to have.
Yeah.
And yeah, it pretty much became our daily driver car too. This was our main mode of transport for nearly those, 15, 18 years or something like that. So yeah, it was amazing what I could do with it actually. It had to be everything sometimes. We went camping in it sometimes.
Wow.
Tents and packs. Yeah, as you know, there's not a lot of space in it to start with, but you find little nooks and crannies to put stuff. Yeah, it's a fun car. I always love it. I still do, and I think that what's really amazed to me is just the classic shape is still there. It's still, to me, it feels like a modern looking classic car. I think it's kept that appeal. Yeah.
And just looking at it, I think I want one again. Actually, I think I've just decided. Anyway, but at 8 cars, I think it might be an issue.
You've got 8 cars.
Yeah, I have a problem. Yeah, I do. But I've subsequently find out I'm not the only one who has these kind of vehicles kind of squirreled away. But Emma knows this all too well. There's cars in our shop at the moment. Go, is that a customer's car? I said, no, it's mine. So we have to be a bit. Have to be a bit careful. So look, anyway, look, I'll let you continue. So yeah, why did you go for this one in particular?
Why I purchased it originally?
No. Why did you choose to convert this?
Choose to convert it. Yeah. So yeah, even though I enjoyed this car over the years, it was plagued with some issues over the years, mechanical wise. Yeah, it had its fair share of the normal head gasket failures, and I had particular issues with this one with overheating issues.
Yeah,
over the years where it gets stranded somewhere because it's done something it shouldn't. But yeah, eventually it just the poor little motor gave up. It might have been partly my fault. Maybe I just drive them a little bit too hard. But yeah, I took it to a mechanic and he said, yeah, that's pretty much it. Would need to get a new motor. And
yeah,
sort of out of the blue. And I went, oh, all right. How much to get a replacement motor? And he said something like, I think he mentioned something like 7,000 to get something put in again. And for me, that was a crunch point, because I was like, even though I love this little car, it's 7,000 for another probably used motor. It's probably just going to have similar problems again. Head gasket failures, and I won't know what that motor going in is like. So I was faced with the issue of like, what do I do with this car now? It's sell it for scrap, or get rid of it. And something in the back of my head, I was like, I wonder if I can find someone that can turn it to electric, or is it that difficult to turn electric? I had no idea about the process of electric, what was involved with, turning a combustion engine car into an electric vehicle. And I live in Geelong here, and I did a little search on the internet, and I found a local group of enthusiasts now called Renew Geelong.
Yeah, we know Renew.
EV branch, yep. And
yeah.
I went along to one of their meetings just to see, really, just run it past them to see whether anything can be done like this. And I remember going to the first meeting, and I stood up and I said, I've got little MG, I want to convert it. And I think the first sort of words were, like, what sort of range are you looking for, and what do you want to spend on it? And at the time, I knew zero about this stuff. I just said, look, I don't care if it's like a washing machine motor with some lead acid batteries. I just want to get this thing going again. And they're like, no, do it properly. So yeah, I kept going to a few meetings to get my head around what they were even talking about. It was like they were talking a foreign language. I really didn't have a clue what they were talking about. for a while there, and then slowly, meeting some of the members there and getting to know them a bit, we started to formulate a bit of a plan, maybe that, using the MG or this particular MGF could be a good donor car for electric conversion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when was, I mean, what kind of time frame were we talking about? When was your, I mean, Greg's asking here, when was that first Renew meeting? So what's the timeline we're talking about? When did you start it?
I think it would have been mid 2017, maybe later.
Okay. Yeah, so that, not long at all then, really, in the scheme of things.
And that was the second question. Someone asked, I think when I started converting it, someone at the club asked, how long do you think till it's going? And I said, 3 months I'll have this on the road. And they'd converted a car already, and they just looked at me and said, well, mine took 2 or 3 years. And I'm like, no,
it can't possibly be. Yeah, exactly.
But it does.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it does. It wasn't this was a side project and a hobby. Totally. So
you're not under it. Yeah, that's right. Part of it is that the whole something about journey is the best bit of it. I don't know. Someone will correct me on what that saying is. Whatever. Not, it's not about the destination. This is the journey. Yeah, someone will correct me in the comments, I'm sure. But yeah, no, absolutely. I just coming. Obviously, I've flicked through to the next slide. But yeah, I love what you've done there with the J1772 there as well. That's always a great way to do it, isn't it? Just having it stealthily behind the number plate. That's really well done.
Yeah, I originally wanted to put it where the original fuel cap was, but that would have involved me cutting into the panel.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
I didn't like that idea. And then you'd remember the MGF cap, fuel cap, is like a key type thing, and the cap comes out completely. It's not like a flip cap on there, so it would have been tricky to make a flip.
Yeah, but then you got a flip within a flip, right, for J1772 as well. So that's not ideal at all. Yeah. So just obviously talk me through this slide. So you've got you've taken the head off to have a look. I presume this is what you're doing here with this one.
Yeah, this is when I got it back from the mechanic. He said, "Oh, it's
cactus.
Rudy. Here it is."
Yeah.
I went, "Okay, I'll take it back." And when I decided that that's it, I'm going ahead. I'm gonna at least start stripping this thing and see if I can maybe turn it into an electric car. So I thought I was capable of that stage. I could take some bits out. So I started that process and just slowly started taking parts off it. Yeah,
absolutely. And look, unfortunately, I mean, no guts, no glory, right? But at the same time, a lot of conversions start and finish with the removal of the petrol engine. So good on you for cracking on with it beyond that, obviously too. So I presume this is still you're still removing bits here at this point, is that right?
Yep. So as you know, this is under the bonnet here, where the spare tire lives, and this is where my front battery pack ended up, where the spare tire is.
Okay. And continue disassembly.
Disassembling, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Disassembling. I was originally going to take it's probably skipping ahead a bit here, but I was originally going to take the heater. Is it heater core?
Heater matrix. Yeah.
Until I got into about that depth and realised it looked like the first thing that was put in, and that meant like taking the whole complete dash out. I really didn't like that idea.
Abort.
Yeah. So
yeah.
As you can see near the handbrake, actually, there's a couple pipes coming off there. That's
for the cooling.
The cooling pipes, the little heater matrix, anyway, and that sort of just leads out the back. And you'll see later in some slides. That's what I ended up doing. Using a little fluid heater just connected to those pipes, and they run back through the heater matrix and then back around.
Yeah, beautiful.
That works really well. So this is my starting to take bits off that I didn't need. I actually had a lot of fun taking these bits off.
Yeah, why not? Did you weigh everything as it came out as well?
I had some scales and weighed it, and again, I didn't have a background in any of this, so I hadn't tinkered with cars, I reckon, since I was like 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
And my toolkit, pretty much, as you can see on the side, that was my toolkit at the start. Of,
So
like,
you got
pretty basic.
seven spanners and a socket set from Autobahn. Perfect.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
set, and
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
skin knuckles all the time, and lots of swearing. Yeah, just getting things off. But yeah, it was fun taking those bits off. I had a lot of fun removing those bits.
Yeah. And then obviously this is more of the interior that's come out, obviously. So
Yep. So 2 front seats removed. This is the fuel tank.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was quite a tricky thing to get out. I think I don't know how they get them in, but they definitely don't want to come out.
Yeah. Okay.
And that involved, it just didn't want to budge. And I was able to get a little bit of the side out and using a car jack actually to leverage behind it and sort of just popped out after some maneuvering, which was pretty cool. And then that left a nice little space there, and I thought, well, that could be used for battery space. So.
Yeah, perfect. And that's how a lot of people do. They look to see where the tank is, and they go, well, that's perfect. And especially for those that are listening, from an engineering point of view, it's best to put the weight back in where it was originally.
Yeah.
So that's a really easy tick in the box for the engineer when you're doing this kind of stuff, and there's usually, ready-made mounting points to put your battery box up to as well. So
yeah, and I ran this past like the engineer that I was using before I went any further. Too many steps, I'd say, I want to put them here, and he'd tell me how to. Really quite secure, and same with the front ones, and we'd work out that, and he'd come back to me saying he wants this and this. So, yeah.
And look, and that's the other thing. When whoever's considering doing this, your engineer will be your god for the time that you're going through the conversion. And one of the many top tips that I've got is, reference your engineer all the way through. He'll tell you what you can and can't do, and there's no point arguing with him. What he says is gold. End of. Which is obviously what you did in this case as well, which is awesome.
Definitely. And before I go any further, too, I'll put a shout out there for Doug and Blake from the Renew Group. This project just wouldn't have got off the ground at all, and especially Doug, who gave me a lot of help during this project and sort of kept me motivated to get through this. He and Blake, working out exactly, like they've done quite a number of conversions over the years, and their knowledge was absolutely invaluable. I would never have even tackled this without that sort of
that's right. But you need, look at that kind of thing. There's lots of support groups from New AVA who will help with this kind of stuff, and there's a fountain of knowledge, on your doorstep pretty much, who are prepared to help you with this and provide the advice. That's really, really good. So you've got your battery and obviously a mock-up of it here as well, which is great.
Yeah, so the motor is a Siemens AC motor, 1 PV 5135. I actually got this off Blake from the Renew Group. He had a few of these, I think.
Okay. They're good motors, aren't they?
Got them. Yeah, it's really good. They're really great. So I got a good deal off him for that and the controller. I thought, well, this starts it, makes it real. Up to this point, I've been taking bits out of the car and going along to groups and saying, well, I've got pretty much an empty donor shell now, ready for something.
Yeah.
And
now is the time.
He had a motor and a controller. Did I want to buy it from him? And it felt real from that moment. Then it felt like I was going to actually.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
Yeah, and I presume it's an AC induction motor. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, perfect.
It's a hefty thing, so I mocked up my own cardboard version next to it. So I can move that around a lot easier. I think the Siemens motor's like 80 kilos or 90 kilos or something like that.
Yeah. So we call that CAD design, cardboard 80 design. It's the right way. Yeah, we're doing that now for a couple of our builds at the moment. We start off in cardboard and then actually go to CAD because it's easy to do it that way around. So then there's nothing you know, if anyone's listening, anyone's watched Project Binky, that's exactly what they do as well. It may seem a bit Heath Robinson or amateurish, but it's actually the right way to go about it.
You can work out
Especially,
a lot of problems with that.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when there's no drawings accessible to start off with, for sure. But yeah, no, I really like what you've done there. You could almost sell that, I reckon, actually, for future projects. Yeah. Okay. And this is it getting real here, obviously.
Yeah, it was getting real here. Yeah. So the little MG's rear subframe actually can disconnect from the frame, the rest of the car itself, with a few bolts, which makes life a lot easier to work on, because these obviously being a sort of rear mounted motor are quite difficult normally to get into even that engine bay area. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
So we decided to drop the rear subframe and jack the car up and pull the rear subframe out and
yeah, okay.
everything on there, make life a lot easier to work with.
And what are you actually lifting up there? You lift up the whole car with the engine crane? Is that what you're doing?
Lifting up the shell of the car, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. And then you obviously that's your mock-up. You got the motor up against the gearbox, I think. Is that right?
Yeah. Just mucking around with where it would sort of go at some stage. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And it's bum in the air. And have you got batteries? You've got batteries in there already? Is that what you're doing there?
In that shot, yeah.
Okay. So what batteries are you using? Because what batteries are you using?
Yep. So that was the big thing, and obviously with most EV conversions, the battery is the biggest
expense. Yeah.
Again, I think it was Blake that put me on. He said we should check out a website called Import Monster. They import some stuff from Japan. So I got on there, and it's pretty much just a website that uses Japanese Yahoo auctions or something like that. And
yeah.
I got on there and started searching around, and I found a Nissan LEAF battery pack. At the time when I was searching, they had quite a number of different ones on there, so I looked for a pretty good newer pack. I sent a few emails back and forwards to Import Monster to ask them about what the cost was, if I was to bid on it. I bid on it, and I think I won it straight away. I don't think anyone else even bidded on it. And then, I got a quote from them, which they've got a cool little quote thing online. You can work out what the expenses and the costs to your door sort of thing. Shipping and stuff like that. And I picked it up for shipped and landed 3,500.
Wow, that's so good. That is so good.
The risk was I didn't really know what, was I getting a dud, or was the pack going to be?
Yeah, exactly.
Good, you don't really know. I know that they had to do a lot of paperwork there and to prove that it wasn't waste material they were importing into Australia. So I think they had to go through some sort of testing before it came over here. So imported it.
That $3,500 is just remarkable for a Leaf pack. That is probably the cheapest I've seen for a long time, and I think you should be on commission for Import Monster from this time. I reckon Import, there'll be going to be 36 people ringing Import Monster tomorrow morning asking for a Leaf battery, I reckon. Pretty impressive. So that's really so obviously. Unless you're going to answer later, I guess you've got some of the pack there, and you got, I guess, some of the pack behind the rear seat as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Right. Okay. It's a lovely colour, by the way. I do like that. And so this is you obviously still removing the subframe, I presume. Yeah. Cool.
And some more cardboard CAD, as we called it. So this is for the actual mounting of the motor, and using minimal new components. You trying to use the existing, obviously, mounts as much as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Again, this stuff was sort of run past the engineer, and he did his calculations, then come back, and then I mocked it up in cardboard, and I think the next slide I mocked it up in plywood.
Okay. No, really well done. It's definitely the right way to do it. And then you've gone, you've jumped a few steps ahead here, but you've obviously got the gearbox up against with a motor adapter of some description here. Yeah.
Yep. So I sent this bit off to a local engineering company, Robert Lang Engineering in Geelong.
Okay.
I let them work out this bit. It was an expensive bit, but get it done properly.
Yeah.
Know nothing about this area, and I didn't even want to attempt trying to make an adapter plate of some sort to join up a gearbox. I sent it off to them, and they produced the adapter plate for this.
Yeah, no, that's. I was going to ask about that because that looks like he's done a really beautiful job on that, and that's the other thing. That's the other top tip all the way through with this stuff is the mechanical connection between the motor and the gearbox is absolutely key, and I've seen some guys online trying to weld it themselves, and it is possible if you've got the skills.
Yeah.
But it's very easy to mess it up, and very easy to not know you've messed it up until you've got everything buttoned up and you go for the first drive and the thing shakes itself to pieces. So it's essential that you get it right first time, essentially, and you get a professional involved if you don't have the skills yourself. But that looks like a beautiful job. It really does.
Yeah, you did a really nice job.
Yeah. And are we still in mock-up territory here? So you've created a mount of some description here. This is the motor mount on the other end.
So from cardboard to plywood now, and testing whether testing whether it would hold. Obviously, with some just testing it out to see how it would work. And then from there, I brought it back into like an Adobe program and did the outlines and stuff, and then I sent that off to a laser cutter.
Okay. No, it's beautifully clean. And there we are. It's awesome.
So I got it laser cut, bits and pieces I needed for the new mounts. Laser cut, and then sent to a local welding firm that I knew that would do a really good job as well. I didn't want to do welds.
No. There's a skill to welding. There's no doubt about it. And I certainly don't have it. That's why we have good guys on the team to do that for us. That looks really well done.
And the great thing about doing that, and you see the cardboard things I had there before, but you go through like 10. I think I went through 10 to 12 different variants before you end up with something in the plywood. And then the plywood versions, I think I did 2 or 3 of them until I was happy before I even attempted doing a laser cut version and sending it off. But it paid off in the end. It was welded up and it bolted straight in. It's like the holes, everything, and it just went straight in. So that was really cool. I was really happy with that.
Yeah, it looks magnificent. It really does. Very, very impressive. Look, a really clean build. Yeah, I just on that as well. I think when we were asked to quote for fabrication works, I think it's a common misconception of how long these things take. It is lots of trial and error and lots of measuring and mock-ups and everything before you can get to the point where you can actually create a battery box or the mounts and actually get to the point of a finished item.
Definitely, I think that's the biggest thing with these projects, and it's the biggest part is probably just standing around and
how are you going to do it? Yeah, exactly.
It's actually like a big 3D puzzle, really. It's just
and to make it's got to fit within space. It's got to meet all the requirements from ADR perspective and all that kind of stuff. And it's interesting. Some of the motor mounts and all that kind of thing, they go to around $1,500 for an adapter plate and all this kind of stuff. And it's on the face of it, it's a lot of money because it's $1,500 for a bit of metal, but there's actually a heap of IP and a heap of time behind the scenes to make that happen, such that it fits just right and it
Yeah.
works perfectly within your car. And that's exactly what you faced into here as well with this stuff too. So hats off to you to get on and just make it happen basically, and find the resources and get those people to do that for you. So yeah, really impressive. Yeah, that's really really well done. I presume those are new shocks as well, are they?
Yeah, they were put in before I converted it, actually. Yeah, I got rid of the original MG. They're not, were they gas? Something like that.
Yeah.
But they kept leaking. My old ones kept leaking, so the car used to sit extremely low.
Yeah, that's what mine was like for a while as well, until I could get it fixed.
Yeah.
Okay. And then obviously there's leaf cells.
Yep, leaf cells behind there, and the cut-off switch for the main battery, or main disconnect battery. I found a little spot behind the little center console.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. And then obviously you're making the battery box here for this stuff as well, right?
Yeah. So 14 modules in the front.
Yep.
Okay. And I had the same sort of thing. I had the little battery frames made up and welded and put in the front. Yeah.
Okay. So how many kilowatt hours in total have you got in the car?
20 kilowatt hours.
20.
So, yeah. Not the full Nissan LEAF pack. Just wouldn't fit. But at the end of the day, it actually worked out all right, because when I first got the car going, I think I was doing some test drives around, and straight away I noticed 2 cells just going through the floor, losing voltage really fast. I tried to charge them up and they were just losing again. So I had a few spare, which was good because I didn't use the whole pack. Swapped them out, and the pack's been like super solid, really good.
Yeah.
And again, it makes me think that, it's probably the reason why this pack may have been removed from the car in Japan, because it just 2 cells were pulling that whole pack down.
Yeah, and that's common. If you obviously, those are familiar with Leafs will have be familiar with Leaf Spy, and it is quite a common thing that the pack will be brought down by like 1, 2, or 3 cells, and those are the cells that need to be identified and removed, which is obviously pretty labor intensive. So it's probably why it was. But at least you've been able to identify those dodgy cells for sure. Really good. What are you looking at here?
Yeah, so I thought just to make my life harder, I thought I'd give it a crack at with the BMS, cleaning up the wiring a little bit.
Yep.
And I noticed a guy in the US, Jacob Graham. He was doing a electric.
Graham or Graham?
Graham, I think.
Graham. Okay. Yeah.
He's in the US. He's making an electric DeLorean, and he had something like this, and I really liked it because it looked neat and clean. Just tidied up the wiring for the BMS a lot. I really liked the way it looked. Yeah. I knew nothing about PCB boards, but I went online and a couple of YouTube things later, and I found a company that make them over in China.
Yep.
And they had some software on there, and I made this up, sent it off, got some boards back, started soldering, learning to solder anyway.
That's fantastic.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's great. And then
you can see them in there.
Yeah, perfect. That's so cool. And I guess those could be applied to any Leaf, right? So any Leaf battery setup, I guess.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I cleaned up things, and the other thing I did was bought myself a little 3D printer.
Yep.
Just to make up some custom little bus bar covers and containers. I reused the copper bus bars from the original Nissan LEAF pack.
Yep, perfect.
And just made my own little containers.
And what voltage are you running on the car?
I think it's 325, something like that.
Wow, wow. Okay, that's really high. Yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
315. Sorry, 315 nominal. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, and I just wanted to make some little covers just to cover them up. So yeah, my little 3D printer out and print it away, and
Yeah, really cool.
a little.
Yeah, really good.
So yeah, oodles of wiring. That's part of the process.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's me on the left, and
Okay.
Doug on the right. They're helping out, and Doug helped a lot. So
It's like you've got a really neat installation here as well, and that's the hard bit, making it look neat as well. All those wires ringing all over the place. So yeah, deeply impressive. That is just beautiful. That is really nice, Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nice, sexy. We like that. Really nice reservoirs. I presume one's for cooling, is at the very least. Is that right?
Yep. One's for cooling the motor, and the other one's for just a little overflow tank for the fluid heater.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. And there we go.
And there we go. Yeah, it's next to a Model 3 and a new Nissan LEAF.
Yeah. And how small does it look compared to the other cars? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's tiny.
Shows how these cars have grown over the time. That's amazing. Yeah, and yeah, like that looks. Have you retrimmed the seats on that as well?
No, they're only seat covers. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Pretty cool seat covers, but yeah, I'm really impressed with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cleaned up inside a little bit and added an Android head unit and some little bits and pieces to it just to clean it up a little bit. Yeah.
No, it looks really well. So there was a question earlier as well around suspension. Have you made any modifications to the suspension at all, or just as is?
Suspension's been upgraded when I got rid of the original. I can't remember what it's called, hydrogas, whatever.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So
but it's not upgraded specifically for the for the electric conversion. You've just gone from hydrogas to coil suspension, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. And I like how you got color coded cable there, mate. That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, it's good cable.
Yeah. Cables are available in our store. It's a blatant product placement right there, I'm afraid. Yeah, look, I love what you've done. That's so good. That's so cool. Obviously magnets to keep it in place as well, and also handy if you go past speed cameras as well. I presume you can just release it, and they won't see what number plate you're running, which is great.
That's right.
Yeah. And look, obviously the big question is there. Obviously, how much? What do you is your wife has your wife dialed in at all? Can we talk? Can we talk money? Can we talk money?
Yeah, of course we can.
Okay.
So we already know the battery cost.
Yep.
Other expensive bits was actually the adapter plate for me. That was a hefty price.
Yes.
Yeah. Still getting over, but like you said, it's a you don't want that bit failing, and you don't want it. You know, there's a lot of engineering and stuff that goes into that, and I appreciate that bit. Well, that'd be expensive. The motor, obviously. So yeah, and then by the time you grab other gadgets and bits and pieces, I've spent 15,000.
I think that's pretty good, actually. Given the quality of the build and the outcome, I think that's great value, to be quite frank.
I'm happy with that. Yeah. I could have spent 7,000 putting another motor in it.
Yeah. So you've got a sunk cost, or you've got cost avoidance for the project managers in the room for doing that, which is awesome. And you know, you've got a vehicle which is, as we all know, is you give it a new lease on life as well, which I think is and pretty something which is pretty unique. You haven't overcapitalized a vehicle, which is always a good thing to avoid too. So I think that's a fabulous price. I think everyone on.
Another thing at this stage too, I wasn't looking from the outset with my particular project. I wasn't looking for a car with super long range either, or big range or anything, because
Mm.
I live in Geelong. I work from home. I don't do a lot of daily driving anyway, so you know it's
Most people don't. This is the thing, Mark.
no
Right? So,
like
we get it a lot. I mean, just last week. I mean, it's those who have listened to me talk about this kind of thing in the past will hear me say this a lot, and we get it regular on a weekly basis. You know, people will ring up and say, "I want a 400k range car," you know, and we go, "Well, when did you last do 400k's in a go?" And the answer is usually, you know, when I was 17 and we drove to, I don't know, somewhere, you know. And the reality is people don't actually drive that far, and it's almost like they're embarrassed to say so.
yeah.
Obviously people do drive that far, but on a daily basis, 80% of the time, you know, we you know, personally, I've got a Nissan LEAF. It's got 110, 20k range, and it's perfectly fine for 80% of the journeys that we do, and that's the same for a lot of other people as well. So it's, I think, if your requirements are relatively realistic and modest, then yeah, I think that you can keep the cost down significantly, which is exactly what you've done. So with the so in terms of range, what have you got? Have you managed to test that or get to a nail biting conclusion with that?
Not exactly yet. I reckon it will be around the 100 kilometers though.
Yeah. If you've got about, it's typically, I think it's 10 kilowatt hours per 50 k's or thereabouts is the average for a car like this. So yeah, you'd be about 100 with plus a bit more as well. So yeah, no, that's really good. Oh, sorry, we answered it. Here we go.
Yeah.
Apologies. Yeah, all right. So 100 k's, 20 kilowatt hour capacity pack, 300 newton meters of torque. That's mental in a little car like that, and 150 kilowatt of P. So
It does go. I'll give you that.
I presume it's a bit quicker than the previous motor, the previous internal combustion engine car.
Yeah, wow, it's such a blast to drive now. Like I thought the car was fun to drive before, but it's really cool.
Yeah.
A good thing with the controller too, I was able to map in how I wanted the response on the foot pedal, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So that first half is docile. You really have to floor it to get something from it. But when you do that, it really kicks in, and yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Okay, that's all we've got so far. So let's go through the questions. And by the way, guys, if you're listening, by all means, add any questions that you've got to the Q&A box. So one of the questions here says from Greg, that grey ANAZD box, is that the controller? I presume that is the motor though, right?
The Azure big silver box was the controller.
Oh, yeah. Really? Let's go. I didn't actually see that. I'll be honest with you. Let's go back.
Yeah.
Stop me when we get there.
Yeah. Keep going.
That
one. Yep.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, it's a huge controller. But
I saw that. Oh, that's the motor. I didn't realize that was it. Wow.
Motor's sitting below that. So you'd be familiar with the company EVTV?
Yep.
They made a little communication or CAN bus communication module to talk to that controller, and yeah, I purchased that little module to talk to that controller so we can talk to it easier.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. So another question we've got is aircon and heating. How do you get on with that?
Yeah, so aircon, I'm not worrying about at this stage, although the piping and everything's still in place. It probably just have to get a little electric, what do you call it? Condenser? No, motor thing.
Yeah. So look, look.
You can see that one laying on the ground actually, which is the old one.
Compressor.
Compressor. Yeah. So the old one is actually in that shot laying on the ground. So yeah, I need an electric version of one of them, but all the all the piping and all things are still in place if I do decide to put it back in later.
Yeah, okay.
And there's a space down the front I could put that.
Yeah, okay.
Heating, yeah, a fluid heater hooked up to the original piping that you saw in one of the shots that were coming through. That was
Let's have a look.
center console type thing.
So you got
Yeah.
you got something in here. Sorry, I didn't see it. Sorry.
Yeah, so actually the way I'm running the heater, it's just a switch. So
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yep, so switch to turn it on. I didn't want to add a switch, another button there. So I'm actually using the rear demister button that I never used because it's got a soft top.
Yeah.
I click on that and it turns on the little fluid heater and yeah, it heats up nicely.
Yeah, beautiful. And look,
I also added heated seats. It's not in this shot, but I added heated seats, which was
yeah. So same.
really cool.
Yeah, so that's what we do as well with all our cars. We have it, and then that's a good way about going about it. Putting heated seats, it makes a hell of a difference.
Yeah,
it's 30 watts instead of 1,000 watts, basically. If you're putting heated seats in the car, and just out of interest, we had a Blade Electron in the shop a couple of weeks ago, which was really fun to drive. I didn't really expect to like it, but it was actually a really fun little car. And they had the same
little video you put up.
Yeah, it was actually great. We had quite a bit of time fixing a few issues that it had, but it had the same thing. It had the rear view demister was essentially the heater for the whole car. So you put that on, and then voltage would drop massively and hot air would come out of the front through the front vents. So yeah, no, it was pretty good. Just going through the questions again. Did your insurance group go up? Did your insurance go up?
No, I informed them that it was electric, and
they just went, yeah, okay.
Yep, okay. If it's been approved by Vic Roads and you got your VAS engineer,
yeah, okay,
paperwork,
cool.
then thank you for telling us.
Yeah, who you're insured with?
I think it was just Coles Insurance. Nothing fancy at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's really good. And let's have a look. How many Ks did you? Barry Minster. He said your car looks amazing. It does actually. It's just a really neat build. It's always lovely to see these kind of builds where it's just, completed to a high standard. Really lovely looking thing. How many kilometers did you do before the engine needed to be replaced?
I think it was around 160,000.
Okay, so it's had a life, obviously. So it's not. Yeah. Okay, cool. And let's have a look through. And Richard's asking, were there any problems determining how to fake the connections so the computer still works? Because I think that's one of the things that is impressive with your build. Is it's not like it's a 1960s vehicle. It's from around the 2000 mark. So it's got airbags, it's got ECUs and all this kind of stuff. So so it has ECUs that need to be pacified. So how did you go about managing all that?
Yep, so they all still work. I didn't touch any of that wiring, and its original ECUs are still in place.
Yep.
And yeah, I really removed minimal wiring from the original looms, and it seemed happy. This could be different. It could have been a different story with a 2000 model MGF.
Yeah.
They changed fairly significantly electric-wise. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they got more complicated. My 1999 version seemed happy. It still does all its checks. It all comes on. And the only thing I had a big issue trying to work out was my power steering. The MGF comes out with electric power steering.
Yeah.
Already, but tricking it or getting that to work was my trickiest area. The power steering would kick in as soon as I started driving, which is not when you really, well, it's good, but you really want that power steering.
Straight away.
Yeah. So a little bit of research into that, and I found that it uses two different sensors. It's when the car first switches on, it uses the RPM of the motor, the original ICE motor, and it uses a speed sensor once you start moving. And if it's happy with both of them, then it engages the power steering and says everything's cool. So yeah, I had to trick the RPM part with a little board that just pretty much sent a signal just to say, hey, RPM's here, and then it was happy.
Yeah, no.
Power steering, and it's
really well. I guess you've had that challenge, but in some other cases, you have cars that don't have power steering at all. I don't have electric power steering at all. So at least you had that initially to work with, and you just had to trick it. Whereas, you know, some of the other vehicles actually need you have to do a retrofit with, you know, electric hydraulic power steering of some description. So you've got all that to do, and you've got to make a bracket up and all this kind of stuff. So whereas at least you had that in place.
Yeah, that's one good thing about the MG. It had electric power steering already in place, and the little, sorry, I remembered now, the little module I bought actually just off eBay was a little PWM signal that just sends a signal to it to say, hey, here it is.
Yeah, and so I think and there's a question, there was a statement actually, Nicholas Warren saying that he's saying, oh, he's hoping his 2003 TF doesn't complain when he converts it. And I think, look, in our experience, modern cars are okay, apart from when it comes to, like, you know, stability control and all that kind of stuff. Most of this stuff can be stubbed out and be fooled in some respects, which is obviously what you've done in terms of the power steering. It's just the ESP, it can be a bit of a bugger. So beyond 2003, when all that stuff started to come in, then it gets a bit harder. Yeah, and Brad's saying CAN bus isn't too hard to decode if you want to fool the things that way. True, and it's just something else you need to. Something else you need to put on your to-do list before you can obviously get the thing complied, etc. So yeah, Nicholas is saying, and the TF, MF and the TF never had stability, traction control, and the handling feels fantastic without it. I would agree, Nicholas. It feels right. Yeah. Just one here. Another one from Nicholas. Do you think it's possible for you to have done this without a dedicated engineer?
For me, no.
No. Look, and I would tend to agree with. Not that I know what your skills are like, but you've already demonstrated that you needed help. You needed help with with the fabrication and design and all of that kind of stuff, and you needed the VAS engineer to help you, guide you through what he wanted to see in the car so you could get it complied. So yeah, absolutely. There's with the Land Rovers that we were working on, and the Range Rover and all the other stuff that we're going at the moment, we have a fabricator, we have a electronics guy, we have a high voltage guy, and we have someone with coding experience as well. So and we have a mechanic. So we need all of those skills to be able to complete a build to a certain standard, those skills are kind of, some of the guys have a bit of the other skills, but not everything else. And the short answer is you need help when you're doing this. Don't think, and there's plenty of help out there, as you've discovered. There's plenty. Yeah, there's plenty of people who are enthusiastic enough to give up their time and make your project a success and see it drive at the end of the project as well. Just trying to see if there's anything else. I think we've answered everything here, unless there's anything else. But yeah, look, I think we're done. But look, that's been awesome, Mark. Thanks so much for your time. Hang on, one more message. Oh, hang on. Murray saying transmission works, or is it one gear is selected? How about reverse? I'm translating there because obviously he's got.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's got the original gearbox. You can still use the gearbox normally. It's pretty cool now having a car. You can still change the gears if you wanted to, but it's sort of like an automatic now too. So I leave it in third, which is absolutely fine for anything up to around 80. I found I can actually travel at 80, and then over that I put it into fourth, and then it's just like you can't even hear the car. It's so smooth and
Yeah.
really
Look,
good at
and look, I think what you're doing here is this is a this is a real. I mean, I don't think there's any electric roadsters you can buy. I mean,
No.
unless you've got, you know, you want to wait for the Tesla one, and
Yeah.
you know, and you've
And
got
you got a bigger bank account.
and you got a lazy couple $100,000. You want to drop on that?
Yeah.
So it's easier to sneak $15,000 out the door than it is obviously 100. So yeah, it's yeah. So that's a pretty good way of going about it.
The other thing I've added, not in this photo, but I added a little reverse switch as well.
Okay, perfect.
You can still manually change it into reverse, but my gearbox was never that good in reverse anyway. Sometimes it was hit and miss. Sometimes it sounded like it was not in gear and making terrible sounds. So it just seemed to be worse with the electric motor in reverse. It just
okay.
So I put a little switch in, and it also flicks on the reverse camera, and it's really cool.
Okay. Oh, excellent. And look, Doug's just saying here that Mark, that you might want to tell people that Import Monster can't bring in Leaf batteries anymore.
Yeah. So Doug, yeah. Hey Doug, how you going? Yeah, Doug was going to try and bring in a Nissan LEAF pack, and he only found out, I think, a couple of weeks ago that they're not keen on, or they can't bring them in now. Something.
Okay.
Something with Doug can help me. Which law it is over there that they has changed, or
so is it Basel Convention? I don't think it's any. Is that anything to do with faulty towers, or
and I think it's got a little bit to do with maybe Import Monster too, because they just import things like car parts mostly and things. I don't think they're that up to really wanting to try and work out how to work out whether battery modules are good in a battery pack. It's not their thing anyway. They're not electricians. They're not from an electrical background.
Yeah, okay.
It would probably be a nightmare for them to try and work that out and get paperwork sorted.
Yeah, okay. And Doug's just saying, whoever can't see the chat, basically, Doug's saying that they can't prove to Japanese government that they aren't going to go to waste.
Yeah.
Which is exactly the opposite of what's going to happen with these things, right? So
no, it's a shame. Yeah.
So that's obviously got in under the wire there, which is good for you, but not so good for
maybe there's
else.
someone smarter out there who can work out how to bring them in, because they've got a lot of batteries. Well, they seem to have Nissan LEAF battery packs popping up quite regularly over there. Someone smarter out there can work it out how to get them in.
Yeah, well, it's something to explore, and certainly we might just have words with Import Monster ourselves and see what we can do to bring those in. But look, I don't know if you've read through some of the chats as well, but obviously there's a fair few people who've been impressed with the build, and as am I. So obviously Gavin's saying that you've inspired him to look at doing a conversion. That's what we want, right? Do more. I'm not going to say. I think in closing, I'm talking for you. I would say that this hasn't been the easiest conversion because you've had to fabricate a lot of bits, but I would imagine you've enjoyed doing this all the way through.
I absolutely had a ball.
Yeah.
Doing this.
And look at this.
I learned so many new things. Met some great new people along the way too that helped me.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun.
Yeah, there's that term called
get away and do something, with your hands and do something.
And you learn all the way through it as well, which is great. Which is most people like. And then also, you end up with something which is truly unique. you know, and for the price of a second-hand Corolla, you've got something far better, right? So yeah, no, it's very impressive indeed. So look, I think we're pretty much out of time. Thank you for your time, Mark. Very appreciated. Thanks for obviously Emma as well. Emma and Mark have worked behind the scenes, guys. Emma works for us at Evolution.
Thanks, Emma.
So I just kind of rock up and do the Michael Parkinson thing, but Emma and Mark are the ones who pulled this pack together. Thanks for everyone for joining tonight. Thanks for everyone giving up their evening to have a look at this and dial in. And actually, someone did actually dial in. I don't know if you've seen that, but actually someone dialed in on the phone, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to work with not having a visual aid. But anyway, but thanks for everyone's time. Thanks for all the questions. That's what makes it. And we'll be sure to have another one in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, thanks again, Mark. Thanks for all that. And also, obviously, don't forget to check out Mark's Instagram page and obviously ours as well. And Mark's webpage, electricmg.com. The whole thing will be posted up to YouTube tomorrow morning. And obviously then you can scroll through, pause, or whatever you want to do so you can get into the detail. And by all means, feel free to reach out to either us at Evolution, obviously Mark, if you've got any further questions, and we'll both be more than happy to ask and help out.
Sure. One more shout out if I can.
Sure.
Julian's Random Projects. He's from the US too. He was doing at the same time I was doing my conversion. He was doing a MG midget.
Oh, really?
Much the same setup as mine. He's got a YouTube channel called Julian's Random Projects. He's got lots of videos on his conversion. So, and he helped me out with some code at one point that was, very timely.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, look, if you want to, if you send us the links, we'll put the links in the YouTube. I'm pointing down avidly. I don't know why I'm doing that. No one can see me, but I'm pointing down. So basically, we'll put the links into the YouTube description as well, so people can click into that from there.
Cool.
All right. Excellent. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time. Thanks again, Mark. And we'll see you all in the next one.